Call to order.
Chairman Guarnaro.
Here.
Mr. Hernandez. Mr. Grady.
Here.
Mr. Holmes.
Here.
Mr. Millard.
Here.
Mr. Paradise.
Here. Okay, we don't have a motion to approve all our March meeting minutes rather than go each individual.
Second.
Any corrections or discussion?
I just like to say you did a very detailed job. I did take the time to read through it because you took the time to write it. And I thought you did a great job.
All right, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Okay, new business. Chris, you're on.
Hello.
Thank you
Good
for coming.
evening, gentlemen and Chris Edge, Economic Development Director. So coming back to you, last spring, we had requested money for marketing and promotion between this body and town council. You were nice enough to provide said monies. So essentially right now, I just want to give you an update on branding awareness campaign. Essentially, as we all know, there's a lot going on in Berlin right now. And we basically decided that it wasn't a choice. We have to do this. Between what's going on, whether it's Revision, Cornerstone, Truck Bar, there's a lot of stuff to Berlin to come to. And I think really getting the word out to people is important. How we're going to essentially do that is to promote both inside and outside of town. Because as we all know, but I think people on the outside need to know that it's a great place to live, a great place to work or have your business, lots of things to do, a great place to raise your family. I think the people who have been Berlinites and fans of Berlin for a long time know this, but it's really helping spread the word beyond the boundaries. Basically, what it is and what we do with it. It's creating a brand. Brand is going to be, it's all in Berlin. And then hashtag home to community and opportunity. The nice thing is too is this can be used in a broad-based way. If it is in publications, there's nothing in here that says bring your business to Berlin, because one of the things is you don't want to compete with other towns. They call me, it's fair game. But again, it gives us an opportunity, and it can be in a lot of different ways. How we're going to be doing it, I'll show you the next couple of slides, but essentially the long-term goal would be to create a website. It's all in Berlin.com. It'll be different than the town website because essentially it would be more about coming to this location to live, to work, to play, enjoy what we have within our boundaries.
Can you clarify that you're not competing with other towns?
Sure. There's an unwritten rule that I cannot go knock on doors in Newington or New Britain. The professionals that are there will do the same. They will not knock on doors in Berlin. So it's kind of an unwritten rule. Even though we're in competition with each other, we don't go knock on doors.
So you're saying soliciting people?
Yeah,
that are
yeah,
already
we
in
can't
the-
solicit. So I can't put a big billboard up on Route 72 in New Britain.
Okay.
But if this is in a publication, you can read it in any way you want. But there's nothing in here that says bring, to me, that says bring your business to Berlin. Part of the message will be that because we want your business here. But we really don't want to be overtly being seen as trying to get people's businesses here. Yeah, why not just use our existing website? Basically, the website, as we all know, is good for information. You can get things about trash pickup, plowing, and all kinds of different departments. We're thinking about coming to Berlin, and I hate to, it's a word that we don't use often, but tourism. We can do tourism more than just 3 days a year called Berlin Fair. 2 golf courses, we've got the truck bar, we've got the restaurants, we've got the brewery. We've got a lot of stuff that's cooking right now. And then over the next 24 months, we're going to get about 300 housing units, which are going to bring in more people with money. The nice thing too is they're going to work in tandem with the town website, but also really to help people share what they're doing out on Instagram, which is something that I'm very interested in getting out there. And a lot of the links from this new website are going to go back to the Berlin webpage anyway, about our trails, about all the different entities that are here. With our website, it's sometimes tough to get to that item you need. With this, we'll hopefully be able to do that much easier. So this is kind of the model I like. not saying we look exactly like this, but this is what Guilford has done. Visit guilfordct.com. Relatively straightforward, simple, and click on it, and then it'll take you from there. I see us doing the same thing with our website. Again, the goal is not to have a big, deep website. The goal is really to have a website that you click in, and then you can go to different places at that point. At least this way, again, and it may not look exactly the same because we aren't the same as them. But I think a lot of this really hits what we were talking about: historic, dining, recreation, and then there may be other things we want to add in there too. One of them that's, again, I mean, even the public accommodations like Sage Park, that's something big to push out there, because I know we do have people that want to use it, and I believe, I don't know for certain, but I think we can get rental fees from things like that from outside groups. Instagram, it's all in Berlin. Instagram really is the thing people are using now. When I remember, I do. The last time I did it was a Revision State coffee, and a pretty coffee with a little heart or leaf and hashtag Revision State coffee. Problem is, there's no Berlin-centric hashtag right now. Like in West Hartford, they have Lehigh. Each town's, we don't have anything. So when they send it out there, businesses, it just kind of goes to nowhere. It's all in Berlin will be a central spot where people can put all the information, whether it's good news about sports, or it's a great meal, beautiful day at Timberland, or you know what? I went and bought something at a shop, or you know what? My hair looks terrific. If it's all in Berlin, it's a central place to send it, because I know if you look at the 40 or so businesses, which either have grown or opened up since COVID started, probably 27, 28 of them run social media circles around all of this. They love it. It is how some of them actually survived. You look at Joey B's. I think the reason Joey B's has grown was in social media through COVID. But again, as I said there, when someone takes a picture, they can just basically add "it's all in Berlin" to it. Next one would be a Facebook page. Facebook, it's all in Berlin. I see this really being a place for information about events. So the truck bar is doing concerts. Some people are doing things at the Italian club. Really give people content on what's happening, good news, ribbon cuttings and the like, and really to put good news out there. I think sometimes the good news doesn't necessarily get out there. I mean, I kind of think if we had this in past years to put out the fact that we've now hit a budget for the second year in a row with the zero increase. That's a big thing for people to know. And again, Facebook isn't getting to everybody, but the goal would be through the website, Facebook, and Instagram. Essentially, Instagram and Facebook to start with. The website would be a longer term at this point, but really it's to help to build the brand. Because to let people know it's all in Berlin, and that includes a whole lot. Kevin?
Just like things like Facebook, are you expecting this to be self-feeding, or are you going to have somebody that's going to be?
No, two things we're going to be doing. One, I'm going to kind of get it up and started, but I have monies that I'm going to actually have someone working with me on social media for content.
Because I'm just thinking like Berlin Buzz, Berlin Talks.
Yep.
If it's not managed, it became an advertising forum.
Yeah,
very
and
quickly.
that's what we have to figure out where permissions are. Because you're right, you don't want it to be, as Lord knows, this will come up forever. We will never get Trader Joe's, and as hard as we tried, we couldn't get all these. They just went to America, which stinks because we all could use a supermarket. And I would love to be able to have the answer. I wish you did, but you never know. So anyway, so basically looking at both regional and local outlets, Citizen, Hartford Business Journal, RJ Media Group, which does the Record Journal, doing the Real Estate Journal, and really help to get that branding out there to people, and being a combination of both hard copy and electronic. I think we know that there's still a portion of the population that really is devoted to the own Citizen, so we want to make sure we're doing a nice combination of both. What now? So branding and the launch, working with RJ Media. I've been talking to a couple of different people about social media to get their expertise, video expertise. I'd like to be able to have 30-second videos that we have on the website and or posted. It could be a great experience. It could be somebody that's been here for a while with their business. It could be something that's brand new. I know that talking to businesses in the last couple of years, more and more the mayor is hearing, as others are, and Tim has heard, the experience people have with town hall is very different than they had just 4 or 5 years ago. Those type of things we'd love to get out there in 30-second clips. And then last would be the website creator. How do we pay for this? The good news is have funding in place from the 2021-22 budget, which I'm going to be using to get the website up and going, hopefully at least begun. Launching the campaign with social media, 2022-2023, 30,000 was requested. We're hoping that that will go through the budget process. If so, we'll use some of that money going forward. If we do find we have another need, we will come back. The good news is we have money in place. Money should be coming July 1. So as of right now, we're not coming for money, but just want to make you aware of this because right now it's a slow process. We're really getting it going because I hate to say it, but I don't know a heck of a lot about the social media and how it all works. I'm talking to a couple different people to help me with that, to figure out kind of how all of it interacts and really how we get the word out there. And I think to a large degree, this is going to work almost like the brewery. You can see the brewery almost 2 years in doesn't have a sign, but they're very successful. Kind of ground up, we're going to get our businesses that are social media oriented, have them use it, get it out there, and then as opportunities present themselves, we kind of take those next steps. And again, the long term being the website, which essentially would be a tourism, live here, work here kind of vibe.
Are you familiar at all with people that are doing the social media stuff for Kimberly Golf Course?
I've had a couple discussions. Yeah, no. I've had a couple discussions with her where she's one of the people I'm talking to at the moment. Actually, I had coffee with somebody else.
It would be good to coordinate all the stuff, your pieces, their pieces.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I know already they're doing an event on the 28th, I think it is, with golfing and networking. So I've kind of put that out through my constant contacts. So yes, we're.
No, I mean, I like the thing, I think that's great. I think, to really and maintaining, that's the key. Future. And then do you already have a website person in mind and working you?
I don't at this point. I'm talking to a couple different at this point. Actually, I talked to the gentleman who designed the one for the town of Guilford. The problem is they're very used to working with the private sector. He kind of asked me what my budget is. He goes, "Oh, that'd be great for the website." And then he goes, "What are you going to use for the rest of it?" And I said, "That's what I got." So it may not necessarily go with them, but I mean, my big thing is to use the money I have to bring in experts who can guide me and then kind of get me on my way. Some of it may be that they're guiding me and helping me along the process, particularly with social media to start up with. But I think most importantly, and I think that we have so many businesses that are hungry to be able to be part of something big. I think they feel they are because of what's happening. This to give them really a banner we can all kind of march behind, but this is a really awesome place. Let's let everybody else know. One example for you, and I'll let you go, is Tracy from Dragonfly Design is seeing a lot more people with credit cards from West Hartford, Farmington, Simsbury, and Avon. That's great. We just need to make sure they're hitting all the rest of the home core down in Farmington Avenue. So again, and it's that kind of thing where somebody takes a picture of, hey, I got this great thing, hashtag it and get more people. That's kind of where it is. We'll at least give you an update on that. Next couple of weeks, we'll kind of get it up and rolling.
No, that's great. I mean, a lot of people are just a lot of times not even on websites. A lot of people are on Facebook and Instagram as opposed to the website too. So I'm glad to kind of start with the social media aspect first. But the website is going to be important too, because to be honest with you, the town website is not user friendly. So for you to establish something specifically for what's in Berlin, specific to economic development, I think that's a good way to start.
Well, it is, and it's going to involve a lot. I mean, you think about what Mark and Tony are doing down by the train station. So they have 16 apartments that are going to be coming online at the end of June. They already have 70 for 16 apartments. And I can see that growing as these other ones get up and running. And a lot of it's going to be focus on what we're doing well, get it out there. And like you had said, you get the following, get people interested. So when the website's up and running, they've got a place to go to. But yeah, get them excited about it. Let's show them the ribbon cuttings. I mean, you look at the amount, I want to say we've got 27 women-owned businesses, mostly that are entrepreneurs that have started in the last couple of years. It's amazing. The woman that just opened by Central Pizza, she literally buys pieces of furniture, she stains them, she paints them, she resells them. A little business. And I know for certain she's one of those people that every time she does something, picture, social media.
So to Sal's point about the town website not being very user-friendly sometimes, it's not very friendly to this.
That's
Very specifically. So just make sure you're so focused, because a lot of people use this. They don't, you're not a laptop at home or anything.
No,
Or even-
my thoughts are somebody's gonna take a look at what's happening on Thursday afternoon or Friday during lunch
Right. While
on
they're
their
out
phone to
on
see
the
what's
street.
happening. What do I want to do? Yes, that's first and foremost on my mind would be the, make sure it's mobile friendly.
Well, you're doing a great job. Christine. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, it's a lot of team effort. I just happen to be the guy that's out there that tends to be the loudest running around with scissors and ribbon. But it is. We're doing, our side of the building still is jamming, which is great. I'm actually doing windshield tours, takes about 45 minutes. And it's great. You can see everything going on because there's a lot of earth that's moving around. A lot of people investing good money. It's kind of nice. And I know that we as a community have been investing for a long time. The private sector is now investing with us, which is, to me, it's great to see. Because it's progress and we get the message out, we get more people in here to live here, spend some money, and then hopefully Mr. Orsini will start moving some earth on his 72 units behind the retail buildings.
Is that the next building to go in the steel?
Yes. Oh, no, not Steel Center. Down on the turnpike behind the Brentford dealership. The next building, I think, for Steel Center is going to be basically right where Pendleton Furniture is. They came in initially with about a 12,000 square foot medical office building. They're coming back with a single story, about 8,000 square foot building, which again makes about, we're going to go at the same square footage. With, you get the elevator and the stairs, you lose a lot. So the hope would be that we would again fill that up. I'm nudging to say, can we get one in that building, one in this building, but kind of see where it goes. But I am trying to work every network I own and have to.
Do you know the timeline on it? Breakdown.
I think literally the day they finish that building, I think they're planning on breaking ground on the next. Because they're going back to planning and zoning because they're changing again, 2-story to 1-story. Again, I don't see that being a big issue at all.
Oh, he has tenants on that building already too, doesn't he?
He's talking to a couple of different tenants. I don't know if there's any leases signed, but there's discussions and I'm in the midst of a couple of them. Somebody I've been, we'll say, actively pursuing. It's the nicest way to put it. Also, stalking him, but whatever works. Because I wanted him to open up here in town because he has a great model that's successful and.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you. And if everybody would like to, what I'll do is, unless you have a problem with it, I will get everybody's email addresses from Kevin. I'll add you to the ribbon cutting invites. That way, if you are around, if you're not around, not a big deal, but that way you can at least swing by. I think it's good to know that who you guys are, because I know you work the hardest because you're crunching all the numbers. So we'd love to be able to do
I'm not
that.
sure work the hardest.
But you work very hard and it's challenging, but yeah, no, I mean, I literally have 6 people who said, wait until it's warmer, and now it's starting to get warmer. So start them up again. So,
Great, great.
thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
All right, item 2, Jerry, why don't you make a motion?
Okay, I move to appropriate $25,000 justice assistance grant JAG to the police miscellaneous equipment account in the special grants and donations fund.
Second? Discussion? All in favor? So move. Jerry, great.
Move to approve the resolution making certain findings with respect to completed capital projects and repealing remaining authorized but unissued debt and expenditure authority for such projects totaling $979,352.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I have a question.
Let's go through this a little bit.
You could just give us background.
Several years ago, the town approved an ordinance which was written to acquire land for and design a police station to be located at 903 and 913 Farmington Ave and authorize the issuance of funds. The money was used to purchase the land, and so this was adjacent to 889 Farmington Ave, which was property that the town had taken as part of a tax sale. Initially, that was where the police station was. That is now where Steel Boulevard is. As written, 903 and 913 Farmington Ave don't exist anymore. They've been rebranded as Steel Boulevard. So there's no legal authority to ever use this ordinance. So that's why I'm coming back. It's really just cleaning up the books. It could never be used to actually issue any bonds. In addition to the fact that even if we didn't rebrand those addresses as Steel Boulevard, there is now one building on, I believe it is 903, which is almost completed. And the next one, you would never be able to put a police station unless you went into one of these buildings that Newport's putting. So this is just getting, it's sort of like you've got a credit card for a store that basically went out of business, and now you're saying, let's just cancel it. Essentially,
There's nothing in the budget it's not covered in the budget anywhere, right?
well, this is just the legal authorization, and what you're doing is deauthorizing. You're basically saying, town, you have the right. Now you're coming back saying you don't have the right.
The project has to pass.
It has the project does not, but the authorization, the authorized and unissued.
Just want to make sure there isn't a residual balance in somewhere.
No, there's not.
Available.
But we do have in our financials, if you were to look at our authorized unissued, so there's actually a schedule in your footnotes that talks about all of the authorizations and what's unissued against them. There's $979,352 in our last act for this ordinance. And since we'll never be able to use it, it's just cleaning up that schedule. And it also sends a message to standard employers and others that pay attention to what we have. We've moved forward with this economic development project. We're just getting rid of it. We can always come back and do a police station if it was some other location. Never worked.
Sure, you did my question. Just what's different, if anything, that was my question.
Just authorization and just deauthorizing that amount.
Got it.
Is this the only item that sits out there like this?
Like this,
that should
yes.
be addressed?
Yeah, I mean, we have two open space authorizations. I've intentionally left those out there so that in the event the town would like to pursue an opportunity, we could do it. The town several years ago purchased the Chakowski property, and there was some money actually bonded and left. So there was money outstanding for that one. That's the money that we're using to purchase that acre of land, the strip of land, Reservoir Road. So we're leaving the open space out there if there's an opportunistic purchase available. We want the funding. Other than that, I'm hoping to close out a few others. The fire radio is hoping to close at this point, but there's still with one lingering. One of the roads in town is a bit of a dead zone for the radios. So they have added power to the backup generator, the pad of the generator is on back order. So I'm not taking that away just in case something else would be needed. But eventually I anticipate coming back for that one. And hopefully at some point we will either use it or get rid of the wash bay movements by actually completing the highway project. And then lastly, I've submitted to the state, I've received some questions back. Once the audit's completed, I'll get rid of the VHS. But until that's done, in the event the state came back and we expect to get over $3 million back, if something horrific happened, owed money back to the state, which would be extraordinary considering how much we expect to get back. But just in case it does, when I have the ordinance out there, we could borrow or protect ourselves. After that, I'll get rid of the as well.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, item 4.
We have the annual budget amendment on the 26th. The charter requires that if the budget passes within 2 days, the Board of Finance must set the mill rate. So I'm putting the dates out there as to whether you would like to schedule a meeting for the 27th or 28th, so it's Wednesday or Thursday. I'm not sure if either day works better. We could do, you could decide to do the 28th so that we'll know how the vote goes in the event that the vote is in favor and both budgets pass. The last couple of years, we've just done it through Zoom. It's a very quick thing. It appears at this point, the governor proposed a 29 mil motor vehicle cap. The Appropriations and Finance Committees came out with a 32.46 motor vehicle cap, and they're now in negotiations for that. There's a big difference. It's still unknown as to what the legislature with that lower number would be looking to do for the grant. It appears they would expect to use the same methodology because they've said instead of 100 million, they backed into that number essentially because they have 100 million left. So they want to grant less money, so they raise the threshold. You would then have to decide, if you want to raise, do you want to go with what you already proposed, leave it there, take the core number, and anticipate that expenditures will come in lower, revenue will come in better, or fund balance will absorb the difference for this year? Or do you want to raise the real estate personal property mill rate to offset the motor vehicle reduction and stay in balance? That would be the only open question.
Probably still won't know that.
We won't, we
Have
probably,
you done the numbers? Can you tell us the number if it comes in at 29 or if it comes in at 32.16?
I don't have that on me, but I would have it that night as to which one. You would go up a little bit. If it comes in at 32.46, honestly, your gap is about $40,000. It's not,
It's like that.
it's,
Absorb that one.
in that scenario, if it goes where appropriations and finance came in, you could very easily say, we're just gonna let it roll, and worst case scenario, everything comes in exactly as budgeted, and we take 35, 40,000 out of our balance.
At the 29 level, weren't we anticipating 0.07 or something?
It was a 0.09 increase in the mill rate above.
Yeah, so I mean, it was there again, you know, we're talking about less
In that
than-
instance, you were talking, it was $175,000. So not ideal. I mean, the whole situation is not ideal because to your point, I don't see the legislature resolving this between now and next week. And even if they decide on the number, I don't know that we're gonna have a run of the grant that they'll provide. But, you know, the $40,000 assumes no grant. They give us any grant, that number shrinks.
My 2 cents would be just to go with if something comes up short, we try and absorb it.
We have that in your fund balance remains strong.
We have the surplus flowing out there too, so it's not like, we're not talking big money here. We absorb that.
So if the 28 works for folks, and the only reason I put that date out there is the votes on the 26th gives us the 27th. We can notice, I can notice the meeting on the 27th, and if it's just Zoom, I can notice it as remote only versus, I mean, you're more than welcome to come in.
Yeah, it works well. Last year was fine, you know. You do a
I'll be
Zoom,
in South Carolina, so I'll be
minutes,
sitting in
pretty
anyways.
much.
Or if you want, I can just establish either date as a Zoom meeting, just want to do it that way anyway. I don't know that that feeling, if it doesn't pass, then then you have to come back and make a decision. Certainly you can go anywhere from just send the budget back to make additional cuts. At that point, I don't know if you want to meet in person,
But we need a meeting regardless.
something like that. I'm okay. Zoom. Just do Zoom on the 28th.
Yeah. That'll work.
Mark, you good with that? Zoom on the 28th.
Yes, I am. Sorry, I'm multitasking.
You tell me what works, whatever, it's a Thursday night, it's the 28th, if somebody has a conflict, we can do it earlier, we can do it.
I'm okay with 7, I'm okay with 6, whatever people prefer.
Mark, do you have a preference?
No preference.
We do Zoom, I think, but it's a lot more flexibility too. Of course, if the budget passes, it's a minute or two out of the day.
Right.
What's that?
Just 5-minute meeting.
Let's stick with 7.
7? Okay. All right, I will notice that then, so we'll be all covered. Okay. Yep. We still continue to be in good shape. Receipts are very much in line with prior year. They are a little bit behind as a percent of budget, but I did make the transfer from Berlin High School project closeout to the town, to the general fund. So when you see this next month, it will be much closer, much better position. Taxes, continue to remain strong. The percentage is strong. And expenditures, while they're a little bit ahead, I think as a percent of budget, this was an unusual year because of the substantial pension payouts at the beginning of the year, as well as the non-budgeted purchase of fire vehicle. Both of those were budgeted and expended, so there would be no large. Storm related, while we had some risk during the year, unless we have a problem from this point on, we should be okay relative to budget. Electricity, I still see opportunities. And legal, we're still at some risk, but I think we're going to finish okay there. Health insurance and general insurance funds both remain solid. We continue to work on the health insurance fund to try to bring down our stop loss premium increase. Working with Anthem, we did get our broker did go out and get some competing bids, so I think there's an opportunity there. General insurance, we did settle for an extended payout to another police officer. Probably the biggest risk with general insurance is the heart and hypertension risk. We do have a number of officers who were here prior to the mid-90s, so they are eligible under heart and hypertension. And we continue to work through that piece of it. Then, of course, the other part of it for the risk is self-insured liability. We have vehicle accidents or some damage that we don't want to send incurred to hurt our claims.
At this point, when we had everybody establish their budgets, you had a certain percentage increase for health insurance for town and for the. As you continue through this negotiations on stop loss and other stuff, if you now have revised estimates in terms of reducing that percentage, do you then apply the lower percentage for the actual going forward, even though you planned on the higher when you put the budget in?
We would, if that occurred, we would try to go with the lower amount. There's a couple.
I think that would be cool.
A couple of reasons. One would be the health insurance fund is solid. And if I'm going to leave money in either place for favorability, the general fund provides us a lot more options. And I also think it's just appropriate to charge for the we've been trying to work that down to about 13%. We had a blend of 10% for health insurance, 0 for dental, blended to 9.3. We're still at 10, but broker believes probably now with the comparisons that we have some other bidders, we can probably get that number down close to 8.5 or 9%. So I have a feeling we're going to be very close to where we budgeted anyway. But the good news is we were actually at risk of being well above that. So I think we're getting back to where we had budgeted. Pension remains solid. One thing I will say is this liability was based on a 2.16% interest rate. The discount rate now is 3%. Every 1/10% is worth about $45,000 of liability. So we're getting very close to where you're almost getting $500,000 of favorability against this. We only value the liability once a year. So we'll come back around. Typically, we get that number. It's part of our audit process as we do GASB updates and disclosures. So we're probably about 4 months, 5 months from knowing an updated number, but I would certainly expect that liability to be
5 months from now.
We usually get it around
That would be a big change in
September.
numbers.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Especially, I mean, we've only seen one interest rate increase.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. It could
It'd be
be,
a big number.
our number dropped substantially because the interest rate was so low, the liability shot up. So. Yeah. And then, that's really about it, unless there's questions.
Seeing any results from the changes in the VNA billing? Or is that sort of a dead issue?
Well, the new director's there, she's settling in, actually meeting her on Monday because she wants to understand the budget process, which is very encouraging, she's very proactive with that. You know, we are seeing some of the collections come through. the biggest challenge for us is to keep stability in the nurses. To the extent we have internal nurses, we just don't have, you can say it one, but we don't have a body to be out there meeting the patients. We're not going to be able to correct. I can't say that I'm seeing huge upticks.
Yeah. What I was gonna be suggesting is that somewhere along the line, we get something, because of course I was thinking about before she left. Let's see, like a side by side, last year, March revenues, May, April revenues, May revenues, June revenues, so we can compare this year to last year to see whether there's any uptick or not in terms of what we're actually seeing for revenues.
And I do produce a year-to-date, year-over-year comparison P&L, full detailed revenue and expenditures. Happy to share that with you. We do have backups comparison of every month, year-over-year, so that's something you would find.
Well,
useful.
I'd like to see it just as a trend to see whether we're making improvements or not, because we've had starts and stops with this thing so many times. And now we're gonna have another one with a new director coming in. I think we've got to look at it. We're right now on track to lose. Maybe we've already lost probably close to 800,000 this year. Still have 3 months to go. So if it gets worse, we're probably knocking on the door of all-time highs of how much we're losing. But again, it depends on how much they lose.
Yeah, I mean, the revenue is definitely, be nice to see not where we want it. But there is substantial savings. In the budget this year, we have the director and the administrator, director positions limited. So that does create savings opportunity. We did have some turnover in nurses. They said that hurts the revenue, but it also is payroll benefits that we're not incurring back. So
I'll say I go through and I look at some of the expense categories that are supposed to be 100% reimbursable. So I'm figuring those are all factored into the revenue side of the budget. And then when we're only using 50% of that line item. Well, obviously there's more revenue that they're not generating too. I think that's all reimbursable revenues. So it has a compounding effect.
It wasn't reassuring. Rose was giving us the breakdown. They were hoping to get it down to $500,000. Was the goal. We're competing with corporations.
Well, I think it shows how hard it is to maintain people to a small operation like this. Nursing turnover, the heads, the head position turnover. And and probably hard to blame that because of the attention bring to their department too. So there's probably additional pressure there. So, but
and I don't know what thoughts are. There was some discussion at one point about charter division.
Yeah.
That either sits in the purview of those who wish to go around and get signatures to force it, or the town council who has the option in the statutes to just call the charter division.
it's being discussed.
You guys obviously left money for charter revision in the budget. That's out there. It's not a lot of money, but it's also not at the end of the day, it's not an expensive endeavor in terms of town resources. It is an expensive endeavor, I think, for those who are on it. It's a huge amount of time, which you guys have seen with housing, with senior center, everything else. It's a great deal of personal time. But investing in the town, that is sort of a foundation for the town. It's the rules we play by, if you will, day to day, and key to the structure.
It's a tough one to deal with too, because it is popular. But what it is, it's popular, so,
First of all, it's not enough.
right?
It's good communication plan. Good communication. Smooth transition. Time.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing is whatever, metrics that, I don't know, before you got, there's certain metrics that may be important. Or that- I don't want to look at all of it, but there's certain key metrics we're going to maintain as a result of the study that they did, so that, maybe that'll tell us something. And just one other thing, Kevin, I sent you a note regarding the pie chart. Are we gonna send out a pie chart with the tax this year again?
We certainly can. So what I will tell you is it costs close to $2,000 to produce that. The tax office received many of them back from residents who just literally handed it back and said, can you throw this out? Or why did I get this? What's the feedback they got? It's not an exhaustive survey. It's just what they experienced in July from folks. We can certainly do it. It's not a onerous undertaking. We can produce the charts.
Okay, I think I got positive feedback. I just know how we're spending our taxes.
And you indicated that you wanted to see debt service. I guess we would take the general government debt service and put it on the general government side, Board of Ed debt service, put it into the education. Yeah. So education will be debt plus Department 61 and Department 60. All right, we're done.
Most
Cool.
mature. Second,
Second.
in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Thanks, Mark.